I was minding my own business, playing the Overwatch 6v6 comp game mode, which by the way is better than 5v5, but all of a sudden my fun time was interrupted by me noticing people calling Freya, the new Overwatch hero, a horrible design, and I was furious. Who dares to criticize my favorite game of all time? So I did the thing I had to do. I went on Twitter and kindly asked people what is their gripe with this design. Hi, I'm Xol, an artist, a gamer, and some would maybe say a beginner character designer. As you know, there has been some talk about the new Overwatch hero, the kit, the lore, and the design, and people calling it bad. I don't care why, I just see this as a golden opportunity to talk about one of my favorite topics, that being character design. I'm not a professional, and not pretending to be, but I have my own perspectives on how characters should be created and what makes a good character. We can talk about visual appeal, story and lore elements or symbolism all we want, but all of that at the end of the gruesome day is subjective. But subjectivity isn't an excuse to hide away from legitimate criticism that we all can benefit from time to time. I want to talk about Freya. Is the design actually good or bad? Overwatch hero design in general, and what my opinions are on that combined with things like gameplay and the universe of Overwatch. In other words, the roller coaster of Overwatch character design. Yippee! Before we ask anything, there is one thing we need to know. What even is good character design? What would you say is a good character design? Is it simply something that looks cool? Is it something that you want to be? Or simply something that makes your dick hard? Believe it or not, all of those traits can be very good. It all depends on what your goal is. Character design isn't really about how good your design looks. It's far more important to know what the design is supposed to be and what makes the design fit into that description. It's a simple question of what is this character supposed to be, and if the majority of people think it works, it's a good design. If you don't do it for other people, then you can make whatever the fuck you want. But that is when some of the issues start showing up. If you have a product that hinges on good character design, it's kind of fucking important that the majority of people like what they see. In other words, Overwatch. Overwatch has been praised for their stellar character design that is one of, if not the best ones in the market for hero shooters. And there is a reason for that. When Overwatch came out, I remember that every hero had very unique and strong characters that made me understand immediately what they were all about. Calm and quiet ninja, another one with anger issues, energetic positive extrovert, badass edgelord, he's got a stick up his asshole, awkward scientist, and another awkward scientist, but this one's family died. Oh, so did his. All of these heroes have personality and idea with design that fit that idea. The written and visual parts of these characters go very well together. But I have to say, in Overwatch 2 they kill some of these characters just a little bit. Prime example of this would be Junkrat. In Overwatch 1, the way he talked showed intelligence and some sort of understanding of everything and what's going on.
You're just a no-good bully. How can you even look at yourself in the mirror?
I beg your pardon, I consider myself a freedom fighter. A misunderstood one.
You are terrible.
That's cold.
Keep your stuff off the table.
I'm hurt. I am nothing if not a courteous house guest.
But in Overwatch 2,
Are you and Roadhog together?
Do you ever see us apart?
No. I mean, are you a couple?
Yes! A couple of dashing rogues! Not sure what you're missing here.
So he's an idiot.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, Junkrat was always dumb, weird, and silly, but would I be lying when I say he lost almost all of his menacing and intelligent traits, and just became more dumb? You can kind of feel that Overwatch 2 in general is more unserious, which definitely is not a good thing for me. I can't see any way this would be better for anything. It's not even more entertaining, just frustrating. What I'm saying with this is that Overwatch characters have lost a lot of their soul, writing-wise, and that is my opinion. And although this is not about how the characters look, usually it's equally if not more important and is something we need to take into account when we talk about character design. But coming back to what you need to have a good character in your hands, there is a few things that I would list. Strong personality. What is the character supposed to tell? What is this character about? And a visual design that fits that idea. Then after there's lore, traits, symbolism, and all that fun stuff. You don't need to have everything, you just need to have a clear vision of what the character is and stay on that vision. Otherwise you get this.
I mean, are you a couple?
A couple of dashing rogues!
An idiot.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it isn't okay to change the character, I'm just saying that in this specific instance, there already was a rock-solid character that didn't have any change in lore as far as we know. So this version of Junkrat feels alien. And might I add, usually character growth is, you know, growth and they are more, but this version is just less. There's no arguing that this is any amount more of Junkrat. It's just more dumbassness, more idiotic, and more unaware. These two guys do not feel like the same character, and I hate that, because honestly, I kinda loved Junkrat in Overwatch 1. This Junkrat is still Junkrat, but it's the Cocomelon version. Most depth that you could get from Overwatch 1 is now just what feels like dumb entertainment for kids. That's all I can describe it as. It's for kids. It's so dumb. There isn't layers to things. Dare I say, it's two-dimensional. It's only the surface. There isn't anything underneath, any meaning, any emotion, any intelligence. All you get is what you see without any hint of deeper substance. Pause on that. No, it's not completely lost, but there is a decrease in there for sure. But visually speaking, Junkrat is still amazing, as I would say for most Overwatch heroes. There are worse ones in the mix, and I'm not talking about Freya. Speaking of, is Freya actually a bad design? First, let's talk about the idea. Freya is a bounty hunter. Her personality, based on the lore we got so far, has showed her being mostly cold and calm, confident and capable. Her design visually is not bad, but I would say lackluster. For such a grim and dark job, she looks very much like sunshines and rainbows. Not as much as other heroes in this game, but still. This is my opinion only, but what I described here is not this. This simply doesn't fit in my mind. It goes near the anime stereotype of people looking like top models with perfect everything, baby face and smooth skin, and they somehow are one of the most capable people Earth has to offer. Unreasonably strong fighters, doing things that you would expect requires decades of experience, or are just insane in some way. It's not on that level, but it's going to that direction. And with Freya, it's not how I would design that character. Freya is 21 years old. She looks 21 years old, but she's trying to fit into a mold that requires someone who's a little bit aged and more ragged, more worn out. It's not how I would design that character, but at least it looks decent. But actually no, people are saying she looks boring as fuck. People were saying how she looks like Widowmaker of all characters, but are we dead as saying that this is in every female character in this game? All of them look painfully similar, and that's just a fact. She might look samey and boring, but I wouldn't go as far to say as bad. It's just that it's a little less than what I would want. Now, what does Freya actually have? This is my list of things I get Freya is supposed to be. Bounty hunter, cold and capable, Danish, futuristic, and the list kind of ends there. Looking at these traits, does it fit into the design? I mean, yeah, kinda. The hunter feeling comes from the scarf. Subconsciously, I immediately link clothes like this to hunters who make clothes from the animals they hunt, so that works. Cold and capable are more of her personality and color scheme, so I guess it works too. It's kind of a... it goes into the flow. Danish, here's a clip of someone who's actually from there.
With very little in terms of like national identifiers, like there's very little here that feels pulled right from Danish culture, at least not as I would recognize it. Maybe there's something there that's pulled from Danish culture as it's understood in like California. Like maybe they went to Solvang or something, who knows. But yeah.
And futuristic, I gotta say, the cape she's rocking is kind of freaking cool, but other than that, there isn't a lot that would make me more interested. It's all kind of middle of the road okay type of design. It looks good enough, but it's not anything unique or interesting, so her visual design I would give like a 6 out of 10. It's a mid design, but not bad. And I think people are calling it bad for a different reason. When was the last time Overwatch got something actually new and interesting? I'm sad to say, but Freya is a character that we didn't need. I don't know what kind of character we do need, but honestly feel like the last time I actually was excited about a character was Kiriko. This is starting to fall into my own preference and less so what objectively is good and probably true. Now I'm starting to talk more about what I would like to see in the game. But I'm sure I speak for a chunk of people here. There are a lot of Overwatch heroes that have something amazing about them but fall short in some way. Like Ramatra has amazing design and lore, but his kit falls short in some ways, especially his ults. It's just boring in my opinion. We also have Orisa with one of the most unique designs I have ever seen, but her gameplay is very mediocre, with cool ideas but just underwhelming execution. You would think Orisa is more like running enemies down, being like high damage, fast speed, but not as much damage. But no, she's like one of the most tankiest heroes in this game, and I just don't like that. You know what I loved about Kiriko when she came out? It wasn't the fact that she destroyed years worth of Overwatch lore with huge writing mistakes. It wasn't the fact that she was gonna get a minimum of 15 times more skins than any other hero in this game. Look, I'm not gonna pretend that Kiriko isn't an absolute menace in the Overwatch scene, lore and gameplay wise, and I absolutely think this character has a little too much power on some of her abilities. She's one of the most hated heroes in this game, but there's a reason she's one of the most popular heroes at the same time. It's a slick fucking design. It's cool and unique at the same time. We don't talk about the face. Everything about launch Kiriko was awesome. Most is what I meant to say. Her unique skills being teleporting through walls, cleansing negative effects, and most important of all, triple damage multiplier with 40 base damage on her kunai and 120 on the headshots. That was the pinnacle of character design I wanted from this game. For the start of Overwatch 2, Kiriko was the support I insta-locked every single game and was so happy there finally was a support that I could call my main, that I found interesting like nothing before. But after some time, they decided to take away her 3x damage and turned it into normal 2x. These changes kinda blew ass. That alone was enough for me to not care about this character anymore and go back to Ana. I know, it's such a small minuscule thing that probably shouldn't matter, but it did, and was enough to kill the hype for me. I don't care that she's now more effective. I don't care that it was a net buff. It took away so much from the coolness this character offered. Why did they do this? Was her biggest problem to fix really the kunai body damage? Was this really the way to go? In any case, I just didn't have an interest anymore, and this is the feeling I have gotten from Overwatch heroes on a gameplay level in general. Everything is more mediocre and not really unique or cool. When is the next Genji gonna be here? What about a Lucio or a Sigma? Something that's like nothing we have seen in this game. I want something extreme and not Juno or Hazard. I understand that these heroes are good, but they aren't anything new on a wider look at things. I feel like most heroes that gets released aren't unique anymore. Characters don't have a thing that they do amazing. They do everything well, and that is something that can be only described as boring in my opinion. There are times we hit peak like Venture, who oozes with personality and uniqueness. There is a clear theme, and that is ground dirt digging and eating rocks. There is no other character that can go underground, but there sure are heroes that can fly, shoot, double jump, speed boost with an AoE support ultimate. Or characters that can wall climb, has a shotgun, dash, and a CC ultimate. I'm not talking about anyone specific here, and even though it's kind of a criticism, I'm not directly saying that these heroes are bad. They just aren't really new and unique. They feel like a blend of characters in a bad way, in a way that doesn't make me interested at the slightest. And I know these heroes have all unique aspects to them, but not in an impactful way that would make me want to explore the hero and learn, because there is very little to learn in a grand scale. There is a light at the end of the tunnel though. From what we've heard from Season 18 hero Aqua, it is said to have one of the most unique kits this game has so far, and I hope that he actually delivers on that. I don't usually talk about unreleased content, but since we already saw him, let's talk about it. Aqua's character design. What is the character telling me? I personally see cheerful and positive, kind and encouraging. I can tell that he's very athletic and skillful in something, probably swinging his water staff. Maybe he's a fast swimmer because water. What screams to me is sports and positive attitude. It's like a young sports teacher kind of vibe, and likely some kind of martial arts. His kit is probably going to include some kind of movement, and his combat will be using the martial arts with a mix of water powers with the staff. I can see him using the staff to hit enemies and use water to heal his teammates. The water could also be used to boost speed or clean negative effects because, you know, water cleans stuff and makes things slide. But I don't see this hero being a CC stun type of guy. If something, there might be a little bit of a boob like Lucio, but nothing too overpowering. His design looks perfect, at least to me, and this just might be the next hero with the kit that surprises us all. I sure hope it's something weird and unique, because that is what makes this game fun for me and likely many other players as well. I don't want to see a hero that's slightly different version of like a Lucio, because Freya, as much as she is fun to play, is just a different variation of what we already have in the game. And when that happens, I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck is the point? Am I supposed to be excited for this new hero only for it to be like, oh, I already know almost exactly what to do with this character because it's so fucking similar to other heroes in this game. I just want something that takes me more than 2 seconds to realize, oh, it's just this hero in a different color scheme. Give me something I need to sit my ass down with and learn. What if we got another primary fire like Sigma? It's so hard to learn, But when you do, it's like the gates to heaven were open to you.
Pixie's favorite one.
Even with Venture, their kit isn't mechanically the hardest thing to understand, but the amount of times you go in and eat shit is more than enough for you to realize this hero isn't just brain dead go in. Although it kinda is when you get the gist of it, you can kinda go in and get out pretty fast, but that's besides the point. But I can still see in Diamond to Master lobbies, people put down absolute gourmet feasts for the enemy team with Venture. They feed and feed and feed the whole game, and at the end look around thinking, huh, why do I have literally 1/10 of the damage my supports have? That tells me Venture is very hard to master, and I absolutely adore that in heroes. So hopefully we get more of that. And I know that on the micro level, these heroes have their own intricacies, but when the macro, the surface, is so much of the same, I don't see any point to get excited about the distance of a leap or air uptime on Juno. Like, it's cool, but I don't want that to be the new hero I was supposed to be excited about, you know? But at least it looks like it's not going to be that with Aqua. Just to summarize, I don't dislike Overwatch character design. There are some fall points, but I'm not going to pretend that I know better than these professionals doing their job. But it's not going to sway my opinion. I just hope they come up with things that we can enjoy, because at the end of the day, it's a game and it's supposed to be enjoyed and not over-analyzed over and over. Although that is fun and good, it's not the thing we should focus on. Anyway, this is the end of the video. You might expect me to ask for interactions on this video, but no. I heard reverse psychology is more effective, so I'm going to ask you to not touch anything. Please do.